my name is Jonathan Delbridge, and this is the next video in a series of videos I've been putting together looking at various aspects of piano technique. Today I thought we'd have a little look at jazz piano improvisation. I'm thinking very kind of specifically of the ABRSM jazz piano exams, which go from grades 1 to 5, and I'm going to look at ideas that we might use to begin to work on improvisations for those exams. However, having said that, these techniques can be used for lots of different types of jazz piano improvisation. It's not just for the exam pieces. Anyway, going to the ABRSM jazz exam pieces, what you're normally given on the music for the solo improvisation section is a left hand. It may go something like this, for example, with some chord changes as you go through the improvisation. The golden rule when you're doing the improvisation is to keep that left hand and the beat absolutely secure. If the left hand and the beat is secure, your right hand can kind of fit around that. What I normally do is encourage students, when they're first learning improvisation, just to learn the left hand by itself, until they get to the stage where they can almost play that left hand without thinking about it, almost play it with their eyes shut. If they're struggling a little bit with some of the timing, it could be worth counting it out loud, or you can try practicing with a metronome, or perhaps better for jazz, you can try practicing with a backing track which might have your drums and bass on there. So you really make sure that left hand is secure. Once the left hand is secure, then you can start to look at some ideas for the top hand. But the important thing is that that left hand and the beat stay absolutely secure at all times. What I often do is encourage them first of all to look at just using one note in the top hand. So if we're doing this pattern in the left, it's based in the key of F, so we'll stick with one note F, and I'll give them the one note F in the top hand and ask them to just try making up some rhythm patterns using that note. So they might do things like and so on. All the time making sure that left hand is secure. If the left hand at all becomes insecure, then what I do is get them to make the right hand much more simple. But make sure that left hand at all times stays absolutely spot on. The next stage, once they've got to the stage where you can play a simple right hand rhythm using one note, and the left hand is really secure, is to start to add other notes. So if we're in the key of F, I might add a A as the next note, or maybe an A flat if you want a more bluesy sound, A flat being the minor third and is used in the blues scale. So let's try now with F and A flat. And so on. And then basically I'd build it up, adding on a few notes. Normally with the ABRSM grades, there are some suggested notes given to you on the music. So we might start with those first of all, but in no way would we want to necessarily limit ourselves to those notes, so you can use as many notes as you want. I find one of the common things actually with doing jazz piano improvisations is actually a lot of it is all about confidence, to try out ideas, and I think it's very important to remember when you're improvising in the right hand, you actually can't play any wrong notes because you're making it up as you go along, so you can play whatever you want. Some notes will work better than others, some notes will sound better than others perhaps, but it's always worth just going for it, trying out ideas. You never know what might work. It has been said jokingly, although it does work, that if you play a note that doesn't sound right, play it at least 3 times to make it sound as if it's deliberate, and then resolve on something that does sound right. So for example, and so on. So there's a note there that kind of clashed, but we made that into a little bit of a feature for a few beats, and then carried on and resolved the note. So that might be worth thinking about. And you know, don't be afraid to try out ideas, go for things, see what different ideas you can get. And there's lots of things you can do. You start to incorporate chords. There's no reason why you couldn't cross the hands over, perhaps if the left hand's a bit higher up. That kind of thing. thing, and you can come up with all sorts of ideas. One final little tip that might be useful, it's a good idea to have maybe a little manuscript notebook of some kind. And when you're doing these jazz piano improvisations, sometimes you might find you get a really good idea and you think, I really like that. Then take your notebook, jot it down, and then that's an idea you might want to then use in other pieces. You can transpose it into different keys and use it again in other pieces. And you can build up a little repertoire of ideas and jot them down in your manuscript notebook as you go. The other thing with these jazz improvisations, of course, is to be really secure on your scales. If you know your F blues scale, flattened third pentatonic on F, major pentatonic on F. If you know those and you're doing improvisation in F, you're away really, you're sorted. If you know those different scales, you've got all the material you need to be able to come up with some really good improvisations. So enjoy having a go at them. Remember, you can't play a wrong note. You can play notes that sound better than others, but just try lots of ideas and go for it and see what ideas you can come up with. If you've got any ideas yourself, please do feel free to leave some comments on this video, or if you've got any questions, again, feel free to leave them as comments. It'd be great to hear from you too. Thanks.